Hello there and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about Renown, and more specifically we're going to take a look at the rewards from all 4 of the brand new Midnight Renowns coming in the Midnight expansion. There are quite a varied amount of rewards here, including mounts and pets and transmogs and decor items and various different buffs and additions to the world events. So this is going to be a long one, but before we jump into that, guys, I do want to give a massive thank you to the sponsor of this video, and that is Exit Lag. As you guys know, I'm EU based, and I spend a lot of time on the PTR and beta servers, which are NA based. Now, normally that means a higher ping and the occasional instability, which isn't ideal when you're trying to test content and gather footage for videos. Now, Exit Lag uses AI-powered route optimization and multipath technology to find and maintain the best possible connection between you and the game servers. It constantly monitors your route and adjusts in real time, helping reduce packet loss and smooth out those random spikes. So if you're raiding, pushing keys, or even just playing cross-region like I do, it's genuinely worth trying. They've got a 50% off the annual plan right now, and there's a free trial so you can test it yourself before committing. And if you want to find out more, scan the QR code on the screen right now, or check out the link in the description. And thanks again to Exit Lag for sponsoring this video. Right, so yes, Renowns in Midnight. The Renown system is returning in the Midnight expansion. No major changes here. They are just all 20 levels with 2,500 reputation each, with various different methods of obtaining it through world events and quests and things of that nature. Now, all of these Renown items do require Voidlight Marl. Think of it as your new resonance crystals of the Midnight expansion. So let's just jump into it. The first one, and the first one you encounter in the game, and that is the Silvermoon Court Renown. Now, if you haven't guessed already, this, of course, is the Renown of the Eversong Woods and Silvermoon City. The Renown vendor for this is Keris Fairdawn in the Eversong Woods. So there's 20 levels to go through, so let's take a look at some of the rewards from this Renown. So at Renown 1, you just have Member of the Court. This is just to begin earning Renown with the Silvermoon Court. So Renown 2, there are quite a few rewards. You have Silvermoon Regalia 1. It says you may now purchase the Haven's Elegant Regalia set, and this is going to cost you 5,000 Voidlight Marl. You also get Silvermoon Court Apparel 1, which says that you can now purchase the Silvermoon Court Cloak, and this is going to set you back 3,000 Voidlight Marl. And finally, in Renown 2, you also get Silvermoon Armory 1. It says you may now purchase a rare head armor piece. This is item level 180 and requires level 81, and is going to set you back 750 Voidlight Marl. At Renown 3, we get our first decor. We get Silvermoon Decor 1. It says you may now purchase the Silvermoon Textiles. This includes the Gilded Sky Blue Drapery for 750, the Crimson Silvermoon Runner for 750, and the Plum Eversong Rug for 750. At Renown 4, we get Friend of the Court. It says brimming Arcana rewards from quests during Sathryl's Soiree are increased by 10 or by 25 when fortifying the runestone. So this is a currency that you use to purchase all of the rewards from the Sathryl's Soiree event, which I did do a full video on, but there's a bunch of rewards on different vendors, and this is just increasing the amount that you get from the quests, and this is going to come up a few times. At Renown 5, we have Singularity Craftsmanship. This unlocks access to a bunch of new recipes, including a new contract for the Silvermoon Court, and some things like the Blood Knight's armor kit, the Arcano Weave spell thread, and various pieces of decor that you can craft. Renown 6, you can get Profession Knowledge. It says you may now purchase your Profession Knowledge tomes for jewel crafting, enchanting, and tailoring in Eversong Woods. You also get Silvermoon Bounty 1. It says speak to Keris Fairdawn at Sathryl's Haven in the Eversong Woods to receive a handful of Voidlight Marl. At Renown 7, we have Silvermoon Decor 1. It says you may now purchase the Silvermoon Dining Furniture, which includes the Long Silvermoon Table for 750, the Grand Lightwood Table for 2,500, the Ornate Lightwood Table for 750, the Silvermoon Gemmed Chair for 750, and the Gilded Sun Fury Chair for 750 Voidlight Marl. At Renown 8, we have Friend of the Court. This once again increases the amount of brimming Arcana you can get. At Renown 9, we have Haven's Treasures. So basically, during the soiree, you have different treasures that spawn around the map, depending on which faction you choose, and essentially this reward is just increasing the rewards you get from those small treasures. You also get Silvermoon Armory 2. It says speak to Keris Fairdawn about acquiring a powerful headpiece. To get this item, you don't actually purchase it, you just got to complete a quest to defend the runestones, which is a part of the Sathryl's Soiree world event. At Renown 10, we have Silvermoon Court Apparel 2. It says you can now purchase the Silvermoon Court Tabard. This is going to set you back 3,000 Voidlight Marl, and is of course just a tabard tabard representing the Silvermoon Court, and is available for both factions. You also get fine fashion funding. It says speak to Keris Fairdorm at Sathril's Haven in the Eversong Woods to receive a finery funds. This can be used to purchase a cosmetic ensemble from Andrea at the Bazaar in Silvermoon City. So we had a similar system to this in The War Within. It's just a one-time thing where you can purchase one of the kind of civilian sets from Silvermoon City. Around 11, we have Silvermoon Decor 3. It says you may now purchase the Silvermoon Shelving. So this includes the floating spire shelf for 750 and the turning Silvermoon archives for 2,500. At round 12, we have Dragonhawk Munchkin. It says you may now purchase the Dragonhawk Munchkin Battle Pet. So yeah, that is going to cost you 2,500 and is just a baby Dragonhawk, which is pretty cute. Also at round 12, you get Silvermoon Bounty 2. It says that you can now receive another cluster of Voidlight Marl. Of course, that's a one-time reward. At round 13, it says you may now purchase the Cinderoy wine toys. So the on use for this toy, it says toast to those around you with your glass of Cinderoy wine. So I would imagine you're just going to be holding a wine glass, which is pretty neat. And that's going to cost you 4,000 Voidlight Marl. At round 14, we have Silvermoon Regalia 2. It says you may now purchase the Haven's Dignitary Trapping Set. So of course, this is another one of those sort of basic cosmetic sets you can purchase for 5,000 Voidlight Marl. You also get Friend of the Court, once again increasing the brimming Arcana rewards from the soiree. At round 15, we have Silvermoon Decor 4. It says you may now purchase the Silvermoon lighting fixtures. This includes the floating azure lantern for 750, the gilded vigil post for 750, the bejeweled Silvermoon chandelier for 750, and the sanctified flame lantern for 750 as well. At round 16, we have Silvermoon Court Apparel 3. It says you may now purchase the Silvermoon Court Epaulets, and this is a cosmetic shoulder piece for 3,000 Voidlight Marl. At round 17, we have a mount. This is a Crimson Silvermoon Hawkstrider. This is going to set you back 6,000 Voidlight Marl, but is one of the new HD Hawkstrider mounts, which is coming in midnight. So a little ground mount there at round 17. Around 18, we have Silvermoon Bounty 3, so speak to Keris Fairdorm at Sathril's Haven to receive some more Voidlight Marl, once again a one-timer. And we also have Silvermoon Decor 5, where you can purchase the Reverent Cinderai statue for 2,500 and the Silvermoon Sanctum Focus for 2,500. Both of those very, very cool decor items. Around 19, we have another mount. We have the Fiery Dragonhawk. This is a skywriting mount, and this is going to cost you 8,000 Voidlight Marl to purchase this mount. And finally, at round 20, we have Life of the Party. It says the title Life of the Party is yours, a tribute to your dazzling presence at the Sathril soiree with the Silvermoon Court. And you can also purchase the Haven's Socialite attire for 5,000 Voidlight Marl. So that is all the rewards for the Silvermoon Court faction. Personally, one of my favorites. All right, so next up, let's take a look at the reputation of the Zul-Aman zone. This is the Amani Tribe. The vendor for this renown is Magovu in Zul-Aman. And of course, there are 20 levels to Renown. So of course, the first level is just to unlock the Renown. At Renown 2, we have Armani Attire 1. It says you may now purchase the Lower Blessed Cloak. So this is a cloak transmog and will set you back 3,000 Voidlight Marl. You also have Armor Reserves. This is to purchase a necklace. This is item level 181 and requires level 81 and will cost you 750 Voidlight Marl. At Renown 3, it says you may now find Armani spoils across Zul-Aman. So these are just small treasures that you'll find in the zone. And you'll also unlock Armani Decor 1, which says you may now purchase the Armani Storage Basket. So this is actually the simple Armani basket, which is 750, and the rope-bound Armani basket, which is 750. At Renown 4, it says you may now purchase Fuse Vitality from Chell the Chip at any of the Abundance locations. So Abundance is the world event of Zul-Aman, but it does take place in all of the zones at midnight, and this Fuse Vitality item looks like it is just involved with crafting for the most part. At Renown 5, we do unlock a bunch of different profession recipes, including a contract for the faction and some decor items, as well as some enchants and some crafting tools. At Renown 6, we have profession knowledge tomes for skinning, mining, and leatherworking. And we'll also receive a handful of Voidlight Marl. This is a one-time thing. At Renown 7, we do have some Armani decor once again. We have the Lower Idols. So these are actually really cool and will cost 750 each. So you have the Carved Idol, the Lower of Victory, the Lower of Fire, the Lower of War, and the Lower of the Hunt. I would try and pronounce all those names, but I'm just going to butcher most of them, so it's not worth it. At Renown 8, we're going to get Blessing of Travelers. It says, Wildemar, Lower of Travels, becomes available for worship at the Altar of Blessings in Zul-Aman. This is kind of a zone-wide feature where you do get a blessing from one of the lowers, which does give you you a little bit of a buff. And Renown 8 will unlock another one. At Renown 9, we have Armor Reserves 2. This is going to give you a level 90 champion neck piece, which is nice. And you'll also have Zul'Aman Treasures 2, which the Armani spoils found in Zul'Aman will now contain greater rewards. At Renown 10, we have Armani Attire 2. It says you may now purchase the Lower Blessed Tabard appearance. This is going to cost you 3,000 Voidlight Mile for this tabard. And we are going to get a finery fund at Renown 10 as well. At Renown 11, we have even more decor with the Armani lamps. This includes the burning Armani pine cone for 750 and the Armani incense burner for 750 as well. At Renown 12, we have a battle pet. This is now Loki and will cost you 2,500 Voidlight Mile. This is a fantastic looking battle pet. Huge fan of him. Very, very cute. And we'll also get a cluster of Voidlight Mile as well. At Renown 13, we're going to get the Updraft toy. This is going to cost you 4,000 Voidlight Mile. The on-use for this is call upon a favor of a Keelzon to ride the currents of the sky, levitating on a swirling gust of wind with a 10-minute cooldown. So not too sure what that does, but it sounds pretty cool. At Renown 14, you're going to be able to purchase the muck-covered writings from Chell the Chip at any of the Abundance locations. Now, the on-use of this actually increases your fishing skill by 100, up to a max of 300 for midnight fishing. So, warbound fishing skill? Question mark, it seems. At Renown 15, we have even more decor with the Armani cooking cauldrons. So we have the boiling Armani cauldron for 750, the empty Armani cauldron for 750, and Hashi hearth broth cauldron for 750. At Renown 16, we have the Lower Blessed Shoulder Guards. It says you may now purchase the Lower Blessed Shoulder Guards in Zul'Aman. These are going to cost you 3,000 Voidlight Mile. At Renown 17, we have a mount. This is the Armani Blessed Bear Ground Mount. This is going to cost you 6,000, and it is a new HD version of the Armani Battle Bear from Burning Crusade, which is pretty cool to see, actually. I really like the model of this mount. At Renown 18, we have Armani Decor 5. It says you may now purchase the lower masks. Now, these all cost 2,500 each. You have the lower of Fire, the lower of the Hunt, the lower of War, and the lower of Victory. So these are, yeah, pretty cool looking for sure. And we also will receive our final batch of Voidlight Mile. At Renown 19, we have Winds of Victory. This says that you may now purchase the Armani Windcaller flying mounts. This is a sky riding mount, kind of a awesome looking Armani eagle of sorts. This is 8,000 Voidlight Mile if you do want to pick up this flying mount at Renown 19. And finally, at 20, we have Crown of the Lower Speaker. It says you may now purchase the Crown of the Lower Speaker. This is a head transmog and will cost you 5,000. And you also have Lower Speaker, which does give the title Lower Speaker in honor of restoring the bond between the Armani and their ancient lower. So yeah, those are all of the rewards for the Amani Tribe in Midnight. All right, so next up, let's take a look at the Hara'ti Renown. This is the zone renown of the Haranir and the Harandar zone. The vendor for this renown is Naynar in Harandar. So let's take a look at some of the rewards you can get from this 20 level renown. Obviously at Renown 1, it is just starting the renown with the Hara'ti. At Renown 2, we have Moth Person. It says you may now exchange Luminous Dust for various rewards with the Moth Keeper in the Den. So this is actually a system which I did do a short video on, but essentially this is kind of flying around, picking up moths and getting Luminous Dust. Luminous Dust is used to purchase different rewards like mounts and decor and things like that, and there's only like a certain amount of them that can spawn at one time depending on your renown level. So you're going to see this come up quite a few. There's 120 in total, and each time you get an unlock it is an extra 40, which is right here with Moth Watching 1, which says you may see the first set of moths found throughout Harandar. So this is the first 40 of that. You can also get the Hara'ti Aspirant. This is a rare wrist armor piece which requires level 81 and is item level 180. Also at round 2 we have the Hara'ti Attire 1. It says you may now purchase the capes of the Hara'ti. There's actually 3 different cloaks which are available, each of them costing 3,000 Voidlight Mile each. At round 3 we have our first pieces of decor. This will unlock the Hallowed Haranar Gourds for 750 and the Haranir Herb Rack for 750. You're also going to unlock Secrets of the Hara'ti 1, which says you may now find spoils across Harandar. So these are just small chests. At round 4, you have Big Moth Hunter 1. It says you may now collect your second set of moths found throughout Harandar. This is going to be 80 in total now, and you are going to get some Voidlight Mile on your account. At round 5, we do have some profession recipes, including some decor and different enchants and profession tools and things of that nature. Quite a few things actually from the Haranir at round 5. At Renown 6, it says you may now see your second set of moths found through Harandar on the minimap. So they actually do spawn, but then they don't come up on the minimap until you're a little bit later. It seems that that's kind of the way they're doing this with this moth hunting. You're also going to get Traditions of the Hara'ti, which says you may now purchase Profession Knowledge Tomes for Herbalism and Inscription. At Renown 7, we have some more decor. We have the Sealed Fungal Jar for 750, the Fungarian Barrel for 750, and the Fungarian Sack for 750. At Renown 8, those small treasures are going to get an upgrade with Secrets of the Hara'ti 2, and the Hara'ti Armory is a powerful waist armor piece, which requires level 90 and is a champion level piece. At Renown 9, we have Big Moth Hunter 2. It says you may collect the final set of moths found throughout Harandar. This is going to be all 120 of them. And then at Renown 10, we also have 3 tabards, which are available for 3,000 Voidlight Mile each of them being a slightly different design here, and it's going to cost you, 9,000 to purchase them all. You're also going to get a Finery Fund from Renown 10, so you can purchase one of those civilian armor sets. At Renown 11, you'll now be able to track the last set of moths found throughout Harandar on the minimap. At Renown 12, this is going to be some more decor. You're going to have the Harandar Flowering Lamp, the Harandar Glowvine Lamppost, and the Harandar Glowvine Sconce. At Renown 13, we are going to get a toy. This is the Rutani Seed. The use for this says sprout into a Rutani. Live your best peaceful, grounded plant creature life. So yeah, a transformation toy with a 1 hour cooldown for 4,000. Speaking of Voidlight Mile, we are going to get some more of it at Renown 13. At Renown 14, we do have a battle pet. This is the Munchie battle pet, and this is going to set you back 2,500. At Renown 15, we have some more decor. We have the Rutani Bird Feeder for 2,500, the Rutani Bird Bath for 2,500, and the Rutani Bird Perch for 2,500. At Renown 16, we do have a mount. We have the Fierce Grimlinks Ground Mount, which is one of the new Grimlinks mounts. This is going to cost you 6,000. At Renown 17, we do have 3 different shoulder appearances, which will be available for all armor types. These are going to be 3,000 Voidlight Mile each. And we're also going to have a cosmetic arsenal of weapons available for 5,000, which has some Haranir-themed weapons, which look really great. At Renown 18, we are going to get a decor item, the Haranir Pennant decor. This is going to cost you 2,500. And you are going to get your final set of Voidlight Mile from the Reputation. At Renown 90, we do have a flying mount. This is a Sport Glider mount. This is going to cost 8,000. This is an awesome looking model. Big fan of this. Obviously, kind of using the Dragonhawk design a little bit, but changing it up quite a bit with this Sport Glider model. So at Renown 20, we do have the title Honorary Hara'ti to honor your contributions to the Hara'ti. And we also have a series of cosmetic ensembles, one for each armor type of the new Haranir armor design. These are going to cost you 5,000 each for each of the armor types. And that's all the rewards for the Hara'ti Renown of Harandar. And finally, let's take a look at the Singularity. This is the reputation of the Voidstorm Zone, and the vendor for this renown is Void Researcher and Amanda in the Voidstorm Zone. So let's take a look at some of the rewards here for the Singularity. There are, of course, 20 levels of renown. So obviously the first one is just to unlock the renown. At Renown 2, you have Unavoidable Discoveries. It says you may now use the Research Console in Voidstorm after completing the quest researching the storms. So this is actually a kind of microsystem of Voidstorm, sort of like a talent tree of sorts that gives you a little bit of borrowed power, and this is powered by a weekly quest. So this is like sort of a little side system in Voidstorm, and you're going to unlock it at Renown 2. Also at Renown 2, you have Concentrated Power. It says you may now purchase the Rare Hand Armor piece. This is a level 81 item and will cost you 750 Voidlight Mile. At Renown 3, we have Filling the Void 1. This is a selection of decor items. This is the Void Elf Throne for 750, the Cosmic Void Table for 750, and the Void Elf Barrel for 750. We also have Samples of the Void, where it says you can now collect uncontained Void samples to further your research at the Research Console in Voidstorm, so just an upgrade to that Research Console. At Renown 4, we have Singularity Attire 1. It says you may now purchase the Shawl of Collapsed Star Appearance variants in Voidstorm. So this is actually 3 different cloak appearances which are available, and each of these are going to cost 3,000 Voidlight Mile each. You also get Dominar Bounty 1, which does give you a handful of Voidlight Mile. At Renown 5, we have Filling the Void 2. This is 2 decor items, the Cosmic Chalice for 750, and the Sturdy Void Elf Trunk for 750 as well. Also at Renown 5, we are going to get some profession recipes, including a contract for the Reputation and a couple of decor items. At Renown 6, we have Stormarian Spoils. It says you may now collect Stormarian cores from rare enemies in Voidstorm. Stormarian cores are used in the Stormarian Assault event event, which is in the Void Storm. I did do a full video on that if you do want to check it out, but essentially, yeah, this is sort of a tower defense thing, and you use these Stormarian cores to power the defenses, so you're going to be getting more of those at Renown 6. At Renown 7, you have Power of the Void Storm. It says, speak to Void Researcher and Amanda at the Howling Ridge in Void Storm about acquiring a powerful trinket, which requires level 90. This is likely to be a champion piece and probably from a quest to complete the Stormarian Assault World event. At Renown 8, we have Filling the Void 3. This is 3 decor items, the Dark Void Inkwell for 750, the Void Elf Table for 750, and the Cosmic Void Orb for 750. At Renown 9, we are going to get some professional knowledge for alchemy, blacksmithing, and engineering, which is great. And we're also going to get some more Stormarian cores, but this time from treasures around the Void Storm. At Renown 10, we are going to get some finery funds to purchase some of those civilian armor pieces from Silvermoon. And we are going to be able to purchase 3 tabards from the vendor. These all cost 3,000 Voidlight Mile each. You have the tabard of the Gilded Collapsed Star, the tabard of the Darkened Collapsed Star, and the tabard of the Nebulous Collapsed Star, which will all be available. At Renown 11, it says you may now deploy Shadow Trade Mercenaries during the Stormarian Assault. This is just an additional defense you can spawn during the Stormarian Assault, which is obviously going to help out quite a bit. I would imagine this is just going to be a bunch of NPCs sort of running around and killing things. At Renown 12, we're getting some more decor items. We're going to get the Ornate Void Elf Banner for 750, the Void Elf Floating Lantern for 750, and the Cosmic Void Ashwell for 750. Also at Renown 12, we are going to get even more Stormarian cores from rare enemies in Void Storm. At Renown 13, we're going to get Abundance in the Void. It says Void Touch Spoils in Void Storm will now have additional rewards. So these are just these small treasure chests around the zone. At Renown 14, we are going to get a new pet. This is the Blitzkrieg Battle Pet. This is kind of a hideous void creature with a pulsating red orb, and it's going to cost you 2,500. Also at Renown 14, you are going to get a Cluster of Voidlight Mile for free. This is a one-timer. At Renown 15, we'll be able to purchase some cosmetic shoulders. There are 3 of these once again, each of them costing 3,000. You have the Pauldrons of the Gilded Collapsed Star, the Pauldrons of the Darkened Collapsed Star, and the Pauldrons of the Nebulous Collapsed Star. At Renown 16, you can actually now purchase the Igmatic Fountain toy. This is actually a toy that summons 3 baby Voidwalkers, which sounds pretty fun. And you'll also get even more Stormarian cores, this time from treasures in Void Storm. At Renown 17, we do get a mount. We get the Ravenous Shredclaw. This is one of the terrifying void creatures of the Void Storm. There are a few different colors of this mount. This is the one that's going to come from the Renown, and this is going to cost you 6,000 Voidlight Mile. At Renown 18, we have our final batch of decor. We have the Cosmic Void Crate for 750, the Cosmic Void Summoning Crystal for 750, and the Cosmic Void Training Dummy for 2,500, which might potentially be interactable, which would be pretty cool. You'll also get a Trove of Voidlight Mile at Renown 18. At Renown 19, we have a flying mount. This is the Voidbound Stormray flying mount. So, of course, this is kind of a remodel and redesign of the Nether Rays from the Burning Crusade. And yeah, we're going to get one at Renown 19 for 8,000 Voidlight Mile. And finally, at Renown 20, we have To Infinity and Beyond the Void, which is a solid reference. It says you may now bear the title The Singular to honor your contributions to the Singularity. And you'll also be able to purchase Stormarian cores from the Renown vendor once you do reach Renown 20. So yeah, that's all of the rewards for the Singularity Renown in Void Storm. And that's it. That is the 4 main Renowns of the Midnight expansion and all of their rewards. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully it gave you a bit more insight in what to farm straight away and what to go for. Some really great rewards here. Tons of decor. So if you're into housing, this is going to be massive for you. But of course, there is some mounts in there and a lot of transmog, and you're going to need a lot of Voidlight Mile. I feel like the Resonance Crystal grind is going to happen all over again with Voidlight Mile. So guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments your favorite Renown of the Midnight expansion. Don't forget to leave the like on this video as well if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you want to support me outside of YouTube, I'm also on Patreon, and I'm on Twitter, MrGMYT, and I have a partner Discord channel as well. And also I am streaming on twitch.tv/MrGM. If you want to see me stream World of Warcraft, Midnight Early Access launch, Midnight Launch Season 1, all sorts of WoW, over on twitch.tv/MrGM. And with that, guys, I'll see you next time.